we are starting to read the hand of a 42-year-old person. And before I start my video, I would request you to press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update. You can call me or you can email me. The email and the phone number are mentioned out here, so you can contact me. Now we straight away head to this particular hand image. He's 42 years old, and first we are going to take a look at the left hand first. So this is basically the left hand, and I would talk about all aspects of his palm. Generally, everybody wants to know about success, so I would be concentrating about the success part, about the business part, about the service part in this particular video. This would be my priority, and the health as well. Health is basically mental health as well. I would try to look on this particular hand. There are few markings which are important, like there is a island-like formation. This is an island-like formation that we can see on his left hand. You would basically question me that in a male, why are we looking at the left hand? Basically, left hand is also a prominent hand. It doesn't mean that we just have to consider the right hand. We have to consider both the hands and then come to the final conclusion. This is basically the passive hand. It is not the active hand, but it does play a part. Whatever good or bad aspects we can see in this particular hand might play out in a person's life. So we have to take into account this hand as well to come to a final conclusion. So island-like formation on the headline, and just after the intersection of the money line, this is the money line, and the headline, this is basically the headline. So this portion intersection is after the age of 35. This is when few major events might take place, like island-like formation basically means on the headline means isolation, and it is happening after the age of 35. If we look at the age before the age of 35, we would find just before the age of 35, we would find that there's an upward kind of a line pointing towards the Mount of Mercury. This is the Mount of Mercury. Mount of Mercury is basically everything to do with our skill. These skills can be of any kind. The skills can be of engineering, medical, business, statistics, economics, lawyer also, the drafting skills. So all kind of skills can be seen, and upward lines from the main line, either from the heart line or from the money line, pointing towards a finger is always good, and it means some gain or the other. So this point of upward line is somewhere before the age of 35, so somewhere at the age of 34 or so. But we also find that the headline is a little bit disturbed out here. There is not so much of clarity, as this line is more clear after this island-like formation. So out here, the line becomes much more clear. See, each line has got its importance, and if we are mentally disturbed during a particular period, it's going to play out in some way or the other in our life as well. If there are mental troubles, so we would not be able to concentrate, or we would not be at peace during that particular time. So it would have been a troublesome period after the age of 35 for few years to come. And even before the age of 35, although there is an upward line, still the person would not be at peace. Now we come to another aspect. There is an upward kind of a line pointing towards the Mount of Jupiter. Jupiter is a big planet. Big planet means growth, expansion in one's life. See, Jupiter is Guru, and Guru basically means higher knowledge also. It has to do with religion, it has to do with politics, it has to do with administration. So all these things would have played important part in his life. And in the earlier period, these lines have got even a greater significance, and it is basically what is happening in the earlier period would get duplicated even in the later period of one's life. So these upward lines means higher position and honor. It could be even government or anything to do with that. It's not always, see, many people want to come, basically they come to me asking, would they get a government job? Whenever I see this kind of an indication, I say yes, but it's not always government, because Jupiter is governance and not necessarily only government. There's a difference between governance can come even in private sector or a NGO or any other sector as well, where you are heading something, where you are the organizational head, where you have a political understanding and you're basically organizing and playing a political part and basically reaching the higher position. So when you see only people, it's not just one planet that would take you to a high position. It is a combination of many planets together that can take the person higher. So to reach a high position in present times, you need to have a very good communication skill or calculations. So that basically comes from these particular lines, these perpendicular lines that you see. This is a weaker line, but these two lines are the more important lines that we refer to. So this particular portion of the palm, the Mercury mount, is basically depicting our calculation and communication, technical skills, business skills, and all kind of skills. People who have these perpendicular lines means and strong lines, mind you, these are strong lines. It means that they are sharpening their skills. It is like sharpening your pencil. So if a person is able to sharpen their skills, they basically gain in their life. And this sharpening of skills is happening on a day-to-day basis. It's not happening like one day they've sharpened it and they're forgetting everything. So it's not like that. It's a daily basis that these people sharpen their skills, and that's why they basically benefit out of it. So these are good lines. And see, any area of a particular mount, be it Mercury or Jupiter or Saturn or any mount, the less the lines, the better it is considered to be. And the lines should not be horizontal. Like these kind of lines are basically a negative kind of lines, and too many lines over it also basically destroys the area. It means that overworking of the mind out here, because Mercury mount is more to do with the mind, our skill. If there are too many lines, it's going to be too much of mental working, and that's basically a bad sign. The person would miscalculate and miscommunicate if there are too many lines over this particular area. But having perpendicular lines means very precise with their words. This is what they are, this is what is needed to be successful. So this is the other aspect. Now we come to the sun line. Now the sun line starts somewhere at this is the initial period of the line before it touches the headline. This is the headline. So this portion of the life is before the age of 35. It's somewhere at the age of 33, 34. That's the approximate age. It's not that absence of, see, some people might have an absent line during this particular period and yet they might be working. Let me just draw out here something like this. Book basically says this out here. It's the age is 23, 25, 25, 27. Sorry, it is just let me repeat it once more. This line, when they draw, it is something like this. Age is 25, this is age is around 30, this is age around 35, this is 53, this intersection of the heart line, and this is 53 and beyond. So some people have an absent line out there. They think that they are working and still, why don't they have a line of sun? It's not like that. You don't need to have a line of sun in order to work, in order to have a career. But the presence of the line basically means good amount of name and fame in your work. Even absence, total absence, even total absence of the line doesn't mean that, even total absence of the line doesn't mean that you would not be world famous. Even absence of the line could mean a world famous person. But the line should not be these dim kind of lines. Dim kind of lines are there till it crosses the heart line. Beyond the heart line, you would notice that the line is very, very distinct and clear. And out here, the lines are a little bit dim. See, what happens is when the line is dim, it basically signifies that there are doubts. And it's basically, I have kind of distinguished these lines into three categories. One is deep clouds, light cloud, no cloud. Deep clouds is a situation when the lines are very dim and are barely visible. It means that there are clouds in your room and you are unable to go outside your room because you can't find your way out. So doubt or self-doubt, it basically means when there are no clouds in the sky, it means that the line is very distinct and clear. Some people call this line This is happening all after the age of 53. Some people call this line as the luck line, and some people call it as a name and fame line. I don't call this as a name and fame line, but I do agree to some extent that it does bring good name and fame. But basically, this line is more indicative of how much energies you are giving to your work. This is basically indicative of this particular line. So it's all about your own hard work which is bringing you success. It's not like luck is there. It's basically your own hard work that brings you success. It's something like the sun is shining bright in the sky, and due to that brightness and the heat that is the earth is getting from the sun, that's the reason why plants are growing much more faster. So having a deep and clear line means you would be energizing your work, and that's the reason why you would basically benefit out of it. And this is all happening after the age of 53. But at the same time, if I go by practical palmistry, whenever I find a line something like this out here, I would say clearly that things are going to be extremely good even in the earlier period of your life. See, you have to use common sense. You have to use that it's not one line that brings success. It's a combination of many lines. In the present times also, when we find that the Mercury line is good, the upward line is good, these lines bring in success. So even when the line is a little bit dim, it doesn't mean that your that particular period is not going to be good. So this is one part. Now we go on to the heart line. This is basically the heart line. Heart line, basically people think that it is all to do with your emotions. I do agree it has to do with the emotions, but I have correlated this to your to one's professional life as well. So I would tell you on both aspects. As far as personal life goes, because the heart line is very long and reaching the mount of Jupiter. See, Jupiter it has to do with idealism and sensitivity and higher expectations from life. People who have got higher expectations from life or from a relationship or anything else, they are likely to get more disappointments. So it means that the person has not got realistic expectations. If the heartline had ended somewhere close to the mount of Saturn, it means realistic expectations, and Saturn is more to do with money management, wisdom, and being grounded. So all these things basically come to this particular would have come to this particular person in more. Business people or even people in service, if they have their heartline ending on the mount of Saturn, then more money would have come to them. But out here, the person does not angle towards money. The left hand is showing the person, this is only the left hand that is showing that the person is not angling towards money. Money is not the priority. When I say money is not the priority, the person may disagree. See, the reason why the person may disagree is that their basic nature was that money is not important. But still, what happens is that they're going far away from their nature, and the society is putting pressure on them to basically change, and their priorities change from being an idealistic person to being wanting money. See, in present times, everybody wants money, even if it's not their priority, because that's the benchmark of success. So even when they, but out here still, what's going to happen is where the opportunity comes to make money, they might lose that particular opportunity to make money. A person who had their heartline just ending under the Saturn, they would never miss the opportunity to make money. So this is what the left hand is showing. One or two more things before I move on to the right hand. Out here we find one more thing I just needed to add regarding the money line. In the money line, I find that the money line is kind of ending out here, and a new one is starting somewhere at the age of 33, 34. That's the age when it starts. And this money line is kind of, it appears to be kind of angling somewhere inward. Inward lines are not considered very good if they are pointing towards the mount of Mars. It means losses happening before the age of 35. So this could be a problem, and a new source of income develops somewhere, or after problems, then basically things settle down. This is what the money line is showing. Money also has got a little bit wave-like formation out here. Wave-like formations are not generally good. It should be very stable. If it's traveling, it has to travel in a particular way, in a very predictable way. A wave-like formation kind of reduces the quality of money the person might have. These upward lines that you see out here, these are good lines pointing towards the finger. This is happening. The person is age 42, so these are the things that are likely to come up in his life. So luck basically coming up in his life. There's a inward kind of a line at the earlier period, somewhere around the age of 25 plus, where it points towards the Mount of Mars. Even the lifeline pointing towards the Mount of Mars. Mars is a red planet. Red means anger, aggression, and fire. So the health might have got affected a little bit. So this is what the left hand is show. In general, if we look at the health point of view, the lifeline is reasonably good. It has got a reasonably good amount of Mars and Venus. These are necessary for good health, and at the same time, the lifeline is kind of very predictable, and it's taking a bigger circle. Bigger circle is generally considered to be good for good lives. People who have a lesser circle would have lesser energies, because Venus is more to do with energies and Mars is more to do with fire. So you have to have fire as well as energy to be good in health. So this is what is represented by the lifeline and encircling of the lifeline, the circular motion of the lifeline. Now we move on to the right hand. Now the right hand, there are two images that I have, and same indications can be seen what I basically indicated. I would point out few indications, and the indications are on the head and lifeline. You would notice that there are 1, 2, 3 upward lines from either the lifeline or the headline moving towards the Mount of Jupiter. These are basically good indications as far as higher position goes. It basically takes a person to a higher position and takes a person to an honorable position even at an early age. And the person is getting guided by Jupiter. So guided by Jupiter means guided by the person basically wants honor in his life, wants basically these things in life. This is what basically would bring in the earlier period also, the person might have been at an administrative position. Even when the person is in a junior class also, basically the teacher recognizes and they basically depute them to a high position. So this is what is represented by these lines. These are very important lines. These are not lines to be ignored, and they play a major role all throughout their life. Now we come to the other aspect. I've talked about the lifeline and the upward lines that you see out here. These are constant upward lines pointing towards the finger of Saturn and a little bit towards the Sun as well, but more towards the Saturn part. The Saturn part basically is more to do with money part and unlocking of financial resources. So imagine something. It's something like I'll just explain to you in a different way. Two different ways. Let's assume that this is the lifeline, okay, and this is the lifeline, and there's another line coming and joining in. So consider this lifeline to be the jute rope, okay, a jute rope. And if another basically string attaches to the main lifeline, it basically strengthens out here. Another string revolves around the main jute rope, then basically it strengthens. So the upward lines pointing towards the finger are beautiful lines. Basically it is strengthening the person's life, and at the same time these upward lines could also mean it is something like let me just explain to you in a different way. It's something like this is your fingers. These are the fingers, and from the fingers what's happening is that energies or rays are penetrating your fingers, and when they enter your palm, they are entering your life, and when they enter, they are getting accumulated in between these portions of the V-like portion. Yes, Okay, I'll just kind of end this video right out here. And before I end, I would just add few things, and then I would be talking to you. Uh, so in the right hand, you would notice that the money line is kind of ending on the headline. So this portion of life become important. So in the left hand also we found that the same indications was shown, and in the right hand also. So somewhere at the age of 35, few major events could have taken place. So 35 is the age when these events could have taken place. See, there are three things that happen with the broken line of fate. The first thing could be our work gets basically affected. The second could be our work or business gets affected. The second could be that our main earning member in the family, his health or wealth gets affected. The third is that our relationship that might get affected. So there are two or three different options that might play out, might have played out in this particular person's life. But after that, the line becomes very stable and precise. So problems basically go away from his life. So this is what two or three things I would add out here. In this particular hand, we find that the island that was present in the left hand are not seen out here. This is the headline. This is the intersection we were talking about. Out here, the line basically splits into two. Splitting into two basically means that the person is a genius. They are able to see the coin, the two sides of the coin at the same time. It means that it's not that they know everything, but basically it basically means that the person would be the best in his field of work. So this is the good aspect. One more aspect appears to be, it's not very clear because the image quality is not so good. The headline is something like out here, and there's a backward line pointing towards the Mount of Jupiter from the headline. See, this is a rare thing, and it's happening somewhere at the age of 40 plus, around the age of 40, or maybe a little bit later, maybe 45, and it's pointing towards the Mount of Jupiter. Upward lines, as I've already told you, those are beautiful lines, and it takes a person to a higher level, higher position. So these are beautiful lines. In the right hand, one more thing is seen, that there is not one line but two strong lines of sun, and one of the lines is kind of going between the finger of Saturn and the sun. See, this line becomes a little bit unique because one of the palmists told me that the line between the sun line between the Saturn and sun is something to do with your hobby, and that hobby becomes very, very prominent, and that basically takes you to a higher level, and that might become your main source of income as well as time goes by. So this is a good aspect. And the line from sun, the another line that I was talking about, it's kind of going in between. It's kind of very straight in the earlier period from the age of 53 onwards, and suddenly towards the end it kind of angles towards the sun finger and the Mercury finger. Even this is considered to be good because Mercury is more to do with skill and communication and calculations. So it is a good sign, and it gets the quality. Sunline also gets the quality of Mercury. And one of the palmists basically told me that this line that is kind of angling between these two fingers, the person basically gets their ancestral wealth as well. So now I end this particular video, and I just take a look at one more hand image before I end this particular video, just briefly. Yes, in this particular hand image, one more thing can be seen. That is, there is a Raja loop. There's a skin pattern, a loop-like formation between the first finger, Jupiter finger, and the Saturn finger. This is the loop I am referring to. I'm just going to remove the lines, and then you would be able to see it much more clearly. This is a loop that is a little bit rare kind of a loop. You would notice that many people have got loops between the second and the third finger as well, and out here as well. We don't see between on this particular hand, but we find the loop between the first and the second finger, between the Jupiter and the Saturn finger. See, what happens is that this loop in the books, it has been said it is called the Raja loop. So Raja loop basically means it says that his ancestors would have been very close to the king or something like that. So this is what is represented by the loop-like formation. But I have got a little bit different take. I say that this person itself might reach up to a high position of honor and position and wealth. Both these things come to this particular portion. I also kind of combine these two planets together. Let's take the name is Raja loop. So Raja, a king, if they are good at administration, because Jupiter represents administration, religion and politics, and this is the finger of money management, wisdom. So a king has to have wisdom also, money management also, and the administration also. So only then the person would be able to rule for longer periods of time. So this is a beautiful sign to have. And the one last thing before I end, the heart line is quite straight in both the hands. It means the person is very idealistic and very sensitive, although the straight line basically means that the person does not express his emotions. The person can contain his emotions. So this is what is represented by this. Towards the end of the sun line, you would also notice a V-like portion. V-like portion, V is not victory. V is basically a good sign to have, and V basically provides the person with like it brings in more qualities to the sun line, and it provides much more power, which I've already explained out here regarding the lifeline, where the V was forming, like the energy is coming and kind of accumulating between this V or Y like portion. So that's a beautiful sign. Even in the right hand, you would notice a very strong Mercury line. Mercury line is a very important line to refer to. Whenever we find that this line to be present, it basically kind of strengthens your money line. Money line importance is very less in terms of money. It's a combination of every aspect of the palm that brings in money in a person's life. If a person has got a good Mercury line, the chances are really bright. So out here, I would just end this particular video. Before ending, I just repeat something that I repeat in almost all my videos. People want to know about money, possessions, wealth. We can come to know about money from almost any aspect of your palm. Heart line, head line, lifeline, sun line, Mercury, Venus, Mars, or any other line. A saint once said, you do not need to go to an astrologer or palmist to know about your future, because you already know your future. Present is a result of past. How will be my future? Future depends upon what we are doing in the present. What are we? We are product of our thoughts. So the thoughts that come to our mind are really important. And keep positive company, and because even if something is lacking in your hand, if you have got positive company, you can improve upon it because of the right guidance. Thanks, bye, and take care.